What what I found so super interesting, that in Germany we do this deepfake diaries, which is about historical figures. There was a program last year in the UK that was called Deepfake Neighbors,
Oh, really?
and it was about
The
celebrities
reality, yeah.
doing like reality
Yes,
neighborhood
yes.
wars. Um, but I find this super interesting as this being actually used, and there's openness in terms of the commissioning editors towards this. And I have a follow-up question in a second here. For me, it would be interesting, Jan, from the perspective of Studio Hamburg and Serienwerft. There are also a couple of strategic questions that you have to ask yourself if you're deciding, for example, which tool to work on or which tool you will use in the future, that is future-proof, or that shows a little bit where the journey is going. It seems, at least from the outside.
It's a sort of, because we don't totally know what the technology will bring, but we do know some things, and that's why we actually started to change our complete production workflow. One of the things that was very clear, we have to put everything into the cloud, because whatever we will do, and that's the same with DaVinci, won't work anymore on a local thing, and that is changing a whole production workflow from a rather big production that we have. We also decided, and maybe I should show that with a presentation, because it would be much more clear then. We also decided to change technical supply. So we went away, for example, from Avid, which is just much behind, and went to DaVinci for the very, very same reasons. And just what you told about the documentaries applies for the fiction as well, because we benefit from these new filters and the KI tools that just speed up the workflow.
I think there are examples for maybe to anybody who's not so deep into it, that Da Vinci rolled out already last year a couple of features that use AI technology or AI processes, algorithmic learning, to do something like exactly this, filter out sound that are not necessaries, or being able to use this. So is it for you that you already using all the features that are possible there, or is it just to have the possibility to use them in the future? Or is there
some of the features we already use, but they are rolling them out like every week. Just like this weekend, there were a lot of new features announced by DaVinci, which we for sure will utilize, like the voice replication, which is a new feature which we have to check and investigate. We have to check the legal aspects and the contracts and all the things. There are features like, which we haven't tested how well it works for the fiction, like doing a first rough cut automatically and stuff like that. So it's more or less a process that we are going along and that we investigate. In. And we also, and maybe I really start that now
sure,
at that point, because then you have a better view about the tools.
Yeah.
If we look at the production per workflow, actually, we're using it in every single step in the moment. We told that we went to DaVinci. We're doing the same things like in the prop making department, where we decided to work with Adobe because it's the only thing that it's relatively secure, and so on. These things are done on a permanent way, and we're going forward. We also decided to start corporations by talking to the companies directly, like we are preferred customer from DaVinci Resolve, which gives us a little bit better support and implementation of the things, like we have to train our editors for the new software and so on. The same thing is like we have closer cooperation with Yamdu. And there we also just get the chance that the service provider is changing their software so that it's fitting to our production and to our production needs a little bit more. But I understand you did want to hear a little bit also about what we do in this in the script department.
I would love to. If you're willing to share it with us, so that would be wonderful.
There is no logo yet because that's a totally new cooperation. Because there was the moment that when we started to look about KI, we learned that KI needs big data, and this made us thinking. This is the one thing that we are really, really, really good at, because we're producing this show for 18 years and have 4,200 scripts. And that's why we started to look for a startup. We found this startup in Geneva and asked them, okay, what can you do? Can you actually develop a tool, or what is your tool and how can it work with us? And then we started actually to train something which is a KI, which is of course not, because it's a couple of different tools, and we're constantly feeding concepts, storylines, screenplays, and which is even more important, final episodes, like the video episodes. Because as everybody knows, there's a big difference between a script and what finally is shot. And now the story department has the possibility to actually interact with the scripts directly by asking them questions to the content and to what happened in the last 18 episodes. Not 18 episodes, 18 years in every single episode. And this is a very, very important tool because we have constantly 25 writers on staff, but they are changing year after year. So most of the time, our writers don't even know the stories as well as our viewers. And that's why we need tools to help. And maybe I give a little demo of it. So this is actually a content demo where, let me just see. Where they just found the answer. I'm sorry, I missed the answer at the beginning. We look at it, we will directly ask the second answer. We are asking here the story in a second. I should have glasses on. Works better.
I can read it to you.
I have to go back because I think actually here. There's the question. Here we're asking the system about a name, which is the Rainy Birds, and turns out it was a band in the episode 1405, and they find directly all the important informations that we know about the band. We can also ask, just put the content together from the last 50 episodes, just did, and it will find you exactly a synopsis, and it will also find you the right scripts. And now you would say, okay, that is actually not even that complicated. It turns out it was very, very complicated when we started this process, because the data is so big that it is very difficult to find these things. The other thing is that we have to be very consistent. And the system also learns how the character is thinking and talking. And that's why we also can do, sorry. We can also load up a scene, for example, and ask the system, what is the content text about the scene? What do you have to know about the scenes that were before, and so on and so on, so that I can write the right dialogue for the next episode. Another thing that the tool also can do, just to skip forward, is I said before that we actually have to not only look at the scripts, we have to look at the finished episodes. And that's only possible if we transcript the whole episodes as we have them. And you see that they not only see the dialogue, they also recognize which character is there, where, and what they're actually doing. And that's all in the system.
Aber mach keinen Scheiß.
And finally,
Der Burger war echt lecker. Kannst ja richtig gut kochen. Freut mich, dass es dir
this means that we actually can ask, there's a sound in the back, unfortunately, we can actually ask the system for special things in the episodes, and it will jump directly to the episodes, so the writers can check former episodes by just asking the system, when did somebody do something? And it's, as you see, it's not only the dialogue, it's really the picture that it analyzes.
I find this, I have to be honest, I find this super impressive because that means like you used all the kind of data that you have in terms of finished material and scripts to create like this super interactive chatbot Wikipedia that helps your writers to take away all the time that you need to search to all the old books and all the old episodes to find out continuity errors or to find out about the relationship between different characters, and this like completely takes away that kind of time.
This is the idea. This is the idea which we learned in the post-production, that there are so many tools that can actually speed up the process, and we just try to transform it into the early stages where the writers get tools where they just save time, take away the stupid work, and have more for the creative work.
What I find interesting that in this term it looks like this is rather self-explanatory. So I think if anybody knows how a chatbot works, you just type in your question, and so it's easy to train writers or to train creatives on using this tool. I think for a lot of other things that might be involved with DaVinci or something else, knowledge dissemination inside an organization or company might be much more complicated. You mentioned before that you're slowly implementing certain changes and retrainings, but I would be interested in each of your instances, how do you approach something like this? And especially also, I think in your case, it might be interesting, how do you arrive at a common consensus on what to use and how to use it?
Yeah, I mentioned last time, I think, the word grassroots management, that actually we think that innovation also starts from the ground up. So we currently follow a hybrid model where bottom-up curiosity meets top-down enablement and also guidelines. So we encourage our team. I have to say we are at Southern Browse around about 40-50 people plus freelancers, so we're not huge, and I have a quite young team, and they are very eager about this innovation. So we don't have a lot of people that have fear or that are scared with AI. So I'm lucky, and that's why I can work like that. So we empower our team, we encourage our producers, our creatives, our production team to test and trial out tools and to share their insights. We have an AI task force where we meet regularly, and so also knowledge is passed on peer-to-peer, and we set up like test environments, like tech sandboxes without production pressure. So they can try out tools, for example, markerless motion capturing tools. So is this an alternative for a studio shoot? Yeah. So we give them the possibility, and it's a time invest, it's for sure a money invest and invest in people. But I think it's important to give them the space to try out and share their insights. And once a tool has proved itself, we adopt it into our workflows sustainably. For sure, there are guidelines like legal compliance and data protection and so on. That's very important. But when we think a tool fits our needs, so it would be never tech first. It's not only about technology, it's about the real needs we have in our productions. Then we adapt that process or tool. It's not every time it's a tool. Sometimes it's a process or a workflow. We adapt that into our system. And as people have worked already with it, there is no fear actually. It's more we encourage them. And I think innovation doesn't, at least in our case, doesn't trickle down. It kind of bubbles up from the people doing the work and making the experience and being honest to say, oh no, that didn't work out as well as I hoped. For example, markerless motion capturing for our needs in a certain format. And sometimes it works, and then they are very motivated also.
But that also means that in terms of planning capacities for the employees or for the people in the team, there is a certain amount of work hours that is like for trying something out. So it's always encouraged for you to, if you show the interest, to interact with this tool and bring it together in this task force that you have there.
Yes, and for sure we have workshops also with external experts that, for example, we had a big workshop last week for a new format that we produce in a very short time, and we worked on a very concrete concrete prompting template that everybody can use. So this is in the first place an invest, but then afterwards it hopefully saves a lot of time and a lot of time of research also. That is, I mean, there has to be a human oversight. That's very important, especially in the field of research when it's about facts and figures, But that's something we have always in mind. And initially it's an invest, and then afterwards it's saving money and time and helping people to do higher value tasks.
I think that a similar model might be a lot harder to implement with a company with 800 people.
I have nothing to add actually to Nicola. We do it exactly the same.
Yeah.
So this top-down and bottom-up approach is what we institutionalized with people we call AI ambassadors. So there are things which need to go from top to bottom, which is you have this chat assistant, which is the only one you can now use safely because we have insured it. Please don't use anything else because there we can't. That's top down. But then the specific use cases are the things that need to come out of the community, we would say, if we would be on the internet. But yeah, it actually comes out of the community, and there the interesting use cases come out of. So I've talked about that we have so many back office work. So people often ask, well, what do you use it for? And I can not really answer that question because it's like, what would you use a Swiss Army knife for? There are a million ways you can use it. And that is kind of the beauty and the difficult thing to teach. We have actually set up an edutainment format within the company, which we call Prompt of the Week. I brought a small trailer which also showcases some of the things we're not in a hurry. I don't know if it suits now.
Yeah, but it's a good.
If I'm mentioning, it's a good segue. Yeah. there are a lot of other things in the trailer as well, so I need some introduction about these things. But if you speak German, it's self-explanatory. Is there anybody who is no German native speaker? I will shortly. Okay. So